You don't have a motivation problem. You have something else, and every video telling you to push through it is making it deeper. I'm going to tell you what actually happened to me last year, and somewhere in there you will probably find what's happening to you. This is part 3 of a 4-part series on what finishing actually what you start. So subscribe and stay if this is useful. Last year, around the middle of the year, I stopped opening my main project. The project drifting game. Cars on mountain roads, hard turns, and that is the whole vibe. And I've been working on it for years at this point. The thing that broke me wasn't scope, it wasn't motivation drying up overnight, it was just the physics. I had a vision of how the cars should feel, specific, weight transfer through corners and the exact moment the rear brakes loose. And I knew exactly what I wanted, and every time I sat down to make it, what I built didn't match what I imagined. So I rebuilt it, and it still didn't match, and then I rebuilt it again. By the third rebuilding, I was tired. Not a long day at work tired. Different. The thing that is supposed to make me open the project just wasn't there anymore. I sit down, I look at Unreal, I look at Unity, and I didn't feel anything. Not frustration, not avoidance, just nothing. So I'd watch a motivational video, trying a new routine for 3 days, crash again, and then started thinking maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. And maybe the people who finish games are wired differently than me. And that I've been pretending. So pause for a second. That's the first question. When you sit down at your project right now, what do you actually feel? Frustration is one thing, avoidance another, but flat is a third one. Be honest. If you have gone past the frustration part into the flatness, this video is about you. So here's what nobody told me what that feeling means. It's not motivation that's drying up. So imagine this, your nervous system runs on completed loops. You start a thing, you finish a thing, and your brain marks it as done. And then that energy resets. And that is how your system works. Sleep, meals, conversations, they all have a start, finish, and a reset. But indie dev doesn't have that for a very long period of time. You open a project on day 1, and there is no end in sight. It's years away, and every task inside the project has the same problem. You build a system, but it's connected to 10 other unfinished systems, so there isn't a real done for you. You ship a feature, but it's not playable yet, so there is no closure. You fix a bug, but the build won't compile. And your brain keeps starting new loops and never closing them. And after enough months of that, the system that's supposed to give you energy at the start has new loops and just stops at some point. That's the flat feeling you have. It's not any weakness and it's not laziness. It's your nervous system that is refusing to start new loops until it gets to close some. And the cruel part is that no motivation videos will make it better. They will make it worse. Motivation starts loops, and you already have many of them open. The thing your brain actually needs is the opposite of what every motivational video tells you to do. Second question. When was the last time you finished something? Anything, in any part of your life. Start to done. Not your game, anything. A book, a chore, a project at work, a conversation you've been putting off. If you are scrolling through your last few months and not finding that much, I've got the answer to what is happening. I didn't know anything of this last year. I just knew I couldn't force it anymore, so I stopped trying. I have projects I've been ignoring. Actual stuff. Actual projects with real deliverables. I told myself that I'd do that for a couple weeks and come back to the drifting game refreshed. Couple weeks turned into 3 months. And here's the weird part. Those 3 months didn't feel guilty exactly. I felt like I should have felt guilty, but I didn't. I'd open the project about once a month, look at it and close it. And the software work was different. New features came in, I closed them, and then new ones came, and I shipped them. And that was done, a thing that existed here. And every Friday I'd actually have things that I finished that week. I didn't know it at the time, but my nervous system was kind of healing. Every closed part of that project was a closed loop. Every shipped feature was a reset. And after about 2 months of that, I noticed I wasn't avoiding the project anymore. I just wasn't thinking about it, and that's a big difference. And then sometime in the 3rd month, it just fell back into my lap. There is no story point where I had a big revelation. I just opened the project at a normal evening because I wanted to. I sat down with the physics code, and the thing that felt impossible for weeks took me 3 days to get right. The physics weren't the problem. They never have been the problem. And with that, we come to the third question. What is the smallest finishable thing in your life right now that isn't your game? Not a goal, not a project, a single closable loop that you could fix, for example, at work. A book that's 60 pages that you can read. A drawer in your kitchen that is meant to be clean. Something where done is a real state and reachable in a short time. Got it? Hold on to it, and we're coming back to it. With that, a quick break. Comment the loop you picked, be specific. The smaller and dumber the loop, the more useful your example can be for everyone else watching, and I try to read all of them. So here's what I figured out after that. The standard advice, push through it, build a routine, just keep going, was written for people whose life are full of closure. People with jobs where things close constantly, tasks that finish, emails that get answered, meetings that end. Their nervous system never runs in that deficit, so they can afford to throw some motivation at the wall that has to stick. Indie dev is opposite. Almost nothing closes for years. Pushing through advice in that environment isn't just useless, it's making the problem worse. You're trying to start more loops with a system that's already running on empty. What actually works is the opposite move. When that flat feeling shows up, you stop trying to open more loops in your project and you go find closure somewhere else that your nervous system gets a reset. That closure can be from anything. If you find something small enough, it can even be in another project or even in this one. A bug, a small function, a clean commit. Done has to be just reachable in a sitting or it doesn't count. Or it can come from outside the project entirely, which is what worked for me. Software work, contract jobs, smaller side project, anything where things can actually finish. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a closed game dev loop and a different one. Closure is closure, and 3 months of closing different thing refilled what 8 weeks of forcing the things I tried to make drained. If you have a Discord or community where people post small wins, my Discord is in the description. There's a channel where devs can share what they closed this week. Reading other people's closing things has a similar effect to closing it yourself. So try it for a week. And here's what to do with this. If you answered the first question with flat and the second question with I can't remember the last thing I finished, and the third question gave you a small loop, go close that loop tonight if you can, tomorrow if you can't, then close another one, and the day after. Don't touch your main project until you have closed maybe 3 or 4 real loops. You will feel an unreasonable amount of relief for how small the loops are. And it's not a coincidence, it's your brain confirming that diagnosis. If closing a tiny thing made you feel 10 times better than it should have, you are running in that deficit. After a few closures, the thought of opening your main project becomes possible again. Not exciting yet, but possible. And that's your green light. That's when you can go back. And not before, not by forcing it. I can't tell you how long this takes. For me, it was 3 months because the deficit was deep. For you, it might be 3 days. The point isn't a timeline here. The point is to stop fighting your nervous system and start working together with it. Your project won't rot while you're gone. It doesn't judge you. The work you're forcing through is the same work, and your brain resetted is not a different brain than your depleted one. Last year almost killed my game, not because the project was wrong, but because the closure deficit was so hard that I stopped being able to think clearly about anything of it. 3 months of closing other things gave me back the energy of the developer who can actually work on it. You probably don't need 3 months, but you might just need 3 days of closing small stuff. But you won't know until you stop chasing motivation and start chasing that closure instead. So next week is the last video of this series, and it builds on this one. The thing that has been missing across all 4 videos comes together. If this is a hit, subscribe and hit the bell. I'm posting weekly through this series, and YouTube shows them to only about 7% of subscribers without the bell on. So miss one and the series breaks. And one last comment, if you have been through this and come back from it, tell me how long the gap was, what closes the loops for you. I'm collecting these, so that might be good for a next video. And with that, I hope I'll see you in the next one.